you know, and so, you know, we didn't know what to do exactly. And Dave, at the end of the day, you know, and Dave had talked to MMA and stuff like that, and they said that it was releasable, even though he had marked it client confidentiality, all right? So, you know, I don't know, I mean, to me, you know, I don't feel like you respected the situation, that we hadn't been in this situation before. All we wanted to do is do it correctly, and even when I talked to the attorney at MMA, the MMA attorney indicated to me that it's the person who writes that it's confidential, they have to be, it's up to them to be the first party in the releasing. So we just, and he did release it as soon as we asked him.
You're right. I got he released it.
Right.
Only 3 days later.
I know, but I just explained how it came to that, though.
I don't even want to argue about it.
I know, but this is truth, though.
I was afraid what I would do with the information.
I did say that?
Yes, you did. You said you were afraid of, you were all afraid of what I was going to do with it.
No, what you needed the information for, because as a select board, we have always operated under the summation that we act as a board and decisions are made at our meeting, not on a random note to gather some data, do whatever it is you want to do with it. We can't act on it until we come to a meeting. So all of that stuff has been assumption from what we have done in the past.
And actually, he did tell me that was like, you know, the guy from MMA said, typically the way that would be handled would be, you know, it would go to like an executive session of whatever pertaining board it was, and you know, probably a lawyer would tell you that you had to release it at the executive session. That's probably what would have happened. Okay, but that, I mean, the hard part is, and I definitely agree with it, that both boards typically only meet once a month and stuff like that, and there's meeting requirements. You can't just say, you can't just call everybody up and say, hey, we need to have an executive session, unless it's like a real dire emergency, which that probably wouldn't have fit within that category. You know, and I understand that it makes it more complicated, especially when you're trying to get stuff done. I appreciate how much of a pain in the neck that is. I definitely do. The other thing was on the $5,000 that we spent having it reviewed, that was incorrect to say that we didn't accept any of it. The only things that we didn't accept from Dave Sepchek, there are only 2 items, or in Article 8, those 2 retroactivity clauses. Or actually the third, because there's one in Article 10, 12, anyway, there's like 3 retroactivity clauses, okay? So there's like a 5-page letter, or maybe it's a little longer, but it's in that range. And everything that he said that we should do, we changed, except for those 3 clauses. So to say, kind of in a vacuum, that $5,000 was spent and the planning board didn't listen is inaccurate. And I appreciate the fact that you talked about civility, but civility starts with making sure that we explain the whole truth and not like just the 60,000 foot stuff. If we're going to talk about 60,000 foot stuff, you know, we need to come down. You know, we're talking to this particular group, you know, at 500 feet too, okay? Because they deserve to hear the 500 foot story if we're going to throw around the 60,000 foot story.
I'm just saying. Address the biggest issue here is the fact that our administrative assistant is using her position in this town to sway voters and damage people's reputations by spreading lies. That is a big issue, and our officials need to do something about it. The rumors have to at least stop.
Why don't you bring the people in that I've talked to, Stephanie? I don't talk to Peter Beckford, I don't talk to Paula Kelso, and I don't talk to Jesse Gray when they come in. I stay in my office.
Do you really want me to call people up and have them come in here and confront you?
Yeah.
You know what? The threatening and the intimidation that's gone on in the past 4 years has, not by just you, but by everybody, has caused people to stop coming here. They don't even want to come in this room because of the intimidation.
Excuse me.
Spot that correct this is.
Can we hold on just a second?
Any of these town meetings years ago, if we had 3 people or 4 people, that was something. I've been around here for a dozen years. You made a statement about me that I had a conflict of interest with Mr. Fuller and Wind Farm. I didn't say that. They played the tape back, and I'm glad to take that now, because it showed that was a wrong statement.
You said you were for the one project, and when I was being attacked and almost thrown off the board because of that, I said, well, Ed's for it, so you better throw him off too.
He is for Win, period. Wasn't for the project. We listened to
again, we're diverting from the real issue here.
Right now, and everybody in this room, if you ain't thick skinned, you're in the wrong.
I have thick skin, Ed. I'm not the one that goes running and crying to Carol every time I ask a question. No, that's what Debbie does. And then Carol comes at me all mad that I made her mad.
Bring the proof in. Bring the people in.
They're afraid of you guys. Don't you get that they're afraid of their businesses?
You made blanket statements tonight about all of them.
There's nothing flagrant about my statement. I was personally attacked by the administrative assistant in this office. And I do have someone here that can testify, my mother-in-law. It's not right, and it's gotta stop. Or I will go to the Attorney General about it.
I want to say something. If you have an issue with an employee, this is not the place to do it. You call an executive session and you discuss it with her and them in that. This is going to get the town in trouble.
Okay, what about her bringing a
I
gun
don't
attacking
care.
me?
This is going to get us in trouble. You did it
It's
wrong.
not me. You can't blame
An
me.
executive session is where you discuss employee issues and nowhere else. You talk to your attorney.
She didn't attack
Well,
you.
we're gonna try to,
Yeah, we need to rein this in a little bit.
I mean, I do think that, kind of trying to be fair in the whole group that Stephanie did. I mean, I disagree with her on a variety of things that we just discussed, but, I mean, to the point of civility, but I'm definitely, I agree, it needs to go both ways.
Excuse me,
Now,
Eric.
We have a quiet
I
place.
can't hear you.
I
I
apologize.
would like to hear what you have to say.
I agree with Stephanie, on the issue of civility.
John plowed me out there for a couple of years.
Right. Some people in the back I can't see that well. Some people in the back can't hear that well, so we're an older crowd, probably need to respect each other more on that regard.
Recap what you were saying, I know
Okay,
where you were.
I agree with Stephanie regarding the issue of civility. And obviously one of the things like Stephanie and I, it's very easy for Stephanie and I to be like a lightning rod on each other, and even though, I definitely agree I shouldn't have done that. I mean, if Stephanie and I were like left in the room, we probably could yell at each other. We wouldn't punch each other or do anything like that, but we would have a good yelling at each other and probably be able to deal with it. But probably it's not a good thing for people like me and Stephanie to do like in a group environment. It doesn't do anything for the group. It probably elevates both of our blood pressures more than it probably should. But at any rate, we do need to stay focused on the facts. Now, one of the things that I think we all could improve on being more professional on how we run the meetings and things like that. I can tell you from living in multiple towns, you go town to town, Stephanie, you've lived in other small towns as well. Every town has its own little culture thing going on, and every town isn't perfect. And some towns are better than others, and sometimes you can go through 5 or 10 years of things going pretty well, and next thing you know, 5 or 10 years they're not going so well. So striving for being more professional is always a good thing. Now, we tried to run those hearings, those meetings I think we did a decent job from January all the way through, trying to being inclusive. We had like a half an hour every single week for people to make presentations, and as much as Paula has aggravated me quite a bit, she did take advantage of probably half of those times to at least make presentations. So I think that we're trying to improve. I don't think that probably saying things like that the planning board doesn't know what it's doing, it's violating the law. I don't know if they tried to change the vote on purpose. Those things probably aren't constructive. Those are probably unprofessional things to say, and don't probably make me and the select board feel like it's a good idea to have a discussion about stuff. And so, because clearly it wasn't. I mean, it was a mistake. It was a misunderstanding. I mean, I don't know why it was even brought up that it was some sort of purposeful thing.
I guess it's because it was suspicious of the fact that your LUO vote will now supersede our 4,000 foot amendment. That is suspicious looking. I got the passion in your voice, and I do truly believe that it was an accident, but I'm just saying that initially out of the gate, it looked suspicious.
If you look at the very first schedule, I actually didn't know. I thought the first schedule I posted said that we were going to publish it on the 17th because Debbie told me initially, because it was a warrant, you only needed, 3 weeks, right? Right, so that's the calendar we were working off of in the first place, was that. And then Debbie told me, Eric, it's a regular election, so you got to do it 31 days out so it can be on the absentee ballot. So then I had to ramp back a week to make it get done on the 31st because my second goal was just to make the absentee ballot and make the 3-week warrant requirement. I had no idea Now, what I did find out when I went through the email, you know, that from Paula back in 2010 when this happened, what ended up happening was that Paula had discovered at the last minute, unlike I was like a couple days late on figuring this out, Paula, like right around like the 46th day, somehow or another, she dropped out of it and it didn't get, it was about to not get posted. Now, April 23rd was a Friday, okay, and it was also my birthday, so I spent like all day Friday, my birthday, screwing around with this thing and working with Debbie to get it posted in 2010. And I went back through the emails so I can to prove it. And it was just by the 23rd was exactly 45 days before June. Now, if I would have gone all the way back to the 1,100 emails back in the 2000 Clifton Planning Board account and read the 1,100 email back, I would have figured that out before. Which next time I'll go back and read 1,100 emails before I start on the project. But that's how I found out. So I know that Paula had confusion back then about how this thing came down. So by the time it was done, we just barely made it last time, and it was just a clean mistake. And obviously, as you can see from this, she fully had intended for this thing to be 31 days out, because before she found out about the other thing, she thought it was too. There's a whole bunch of scrambling emails in there about how we had to get it in a week and a half or 2 weeks before this meeting. All right, so that same mistake was almost made in 2010. So it can happen. Apologize that it happened. I definitely didn't plan it, believe me. Go ahead, Tracy.
It's hard to change the past. It already happened. And there's been some good suggestions about civility here, which I really like hearing from both sides. I get people talk to me saying, I saw you talk to those people, or I saw you talk to that person. And to be honest, I'm trying to get a picture on both sides. And both sides are kind of a pot calling the kettle black situation here. We've had people on either side of this event saying, you people, or those people. And I sat here and listened to the planning board sort of unanimously call those in opposition to the wind project immoral. I believe that's in your literature. So when we label people as, well, you can look on your video things, but it was read off of literature, and I've been here for a couple of meetings now, and they were called almost unanimously immoral. To stand up for your beliefs, to fight for what you care for, to defend your families and your children and your property is just downright American. It's not immoral. And so if we can stop the name calling, if we can do as the other legislators do, you can fight when you're getting elected, but once you're elected, you serve the people and you leave politics out of their office. I've had to ask different people from different parties for assistance, and you walk in those offices, you don't talk politics. You talk about the issue that you're coming in to ask for help for. And that's what we should be doing, specifically noting on the issues. And by the way, if it is public information, you should let it go. It should go out to whoever asks for it. Any kind of, if it is public information, should be made immediately available to the public.
And we did everything else. That was the only thing it didn't get because it was marked.
I don't know which document it was or how it relates, but that's just...
Well, and that is the standard policy. It's just not for the attorney stuff.
I've asked for some things and the town doesn't really know whether or not they should let me have them. So, and I've had to double check and find out that they are public information.
We are writing an internal FOA policy to clarify that.
But that's not on this issue. That was like,
well no, we'll to clarify everything now. I know I'm agreeing with you. It's going to be an overall blanket FOA policy. I agree. I mean, where I work, we probably have too many policies, but here we need some more.
Thank you.
Go ahead, ma'am.
I don't want to belabor this issue because I know you folks probably don't want.
Can you just say who you are?
I am Debbie True.
Okay. Thank you.
Happen to be Stephanie's mother-in-law. And just for the record, we do not agree on this wind situation. I'm for, she's opposed. We get together, we debate the issue, we talk about it, we fire up and we cool down. And we go on. And I know that that's the reason Stephanie's here, is to find a similar way for Clifton to act as we do around our family table. So that's what's hopefully will come from this, is civility. And I do enjoy coming into this town office and talking with Debbie. And what I took from that conversation, I laughingly shared, but someone's been hurt.
And you said good things about Stephanie.
Yes, and someone's been hurt, either by other people in the community that don't know Stephanie, or perhaps someone who knows her and disagrees with her, like I do, on occasion. But if civility can come from this, and people can figure this issue out in a great way, in a good way, that will be good for the community no matter which direction the wind issue goes.
Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, my name's Hayward Kingsbury. I've been in this office probably as much as anybody with my toys and boats and cactus. And not one time did Debbie ever try to convince me on a windmill. Never. I mean, I'm for them, but she never told me, and I'm not attacking you, young lady, because I don't know you, and I don't. But I'm just saying, sometimes people say something to somebody and people get it out of hand and it goes back to somebody else. And when it gets to the other end, it's a big discussion, or a small word was said. I just want to say that, and nothing, you know. Everybody's got their own opinion, she's right, and everybody should discuss it and, you know, no matter. But sometimes things get said and it's out of hand. But Debbie has never said nothing to me to vote for the windmills or not vote for the windmills. You know, but I think that we need something in this town besides my house taxes to come from them.
That's why you get your toys.
They're gonna start going next year.
Did you want to add anything? You're welcome.
No, I was
Okay. Go ahead, Duncan.
I'd like to make a comment on a personal attack she just made against Debbie. Nobody has been any more a dedicated employee to the town of Clifton than Deb Hodges. Much longer than you have been a resident of the town of Clifton. You've burned a lot of bridges here.
For my opinion. I've done nothing.
With your opinion.
Have I done anything personal to you?
Which isn't what the town, majority of the town want. And because you don't agree with the majority of the town, you got on your high horse and have made many enemies. And by doing it with her, you've made even more.
Let me just say that I have never done anything personal to anybody here except for have an opinion. If you guys all really think that that burns bridges, then you're all very close-minded.
You attacked me personally, though.
Because of you attacking
Tonight,
me.
it's even more proof that what your agenda is in this office.
No, it actually
Yes, it
started.
is.
Debbie hasn't been one to attack anybody
But she has.
unless
and
it's
you guys are
initiated
totally
by somebody else.
unwilling to
Excuse me.
I usually defend the town. That's what I do.
I need to remind people that I think the purpose of any kind of employee insults, examination or whatever needs to come before our executive session. A lot of things have been said in the last few months that have been extremely hurtful to many, many different people in this town. We've always said we need to try to pull people together. It has become far more than a wind issue when it gets into personal attacks, accusations, insinuations, and any kind of feeling that people aren't being well treated. That makes all of us feel very bad. I think we need to find a place for this to happen. It's not going to be here. We have an issue at hand, and those are the two issues that we call this public meeting for. Whatever happens as far as employees and among the select board and how we operate that needs to happen at a select board level for right now. I would offer anybody to please, if you have comments, to direct them to the right person and not to conversation and innuendo and rumor, because it can do nothing but destroy confidence and public trust. All of us that are either elected or appointed officials have to be respected and have to be trusted. that we are making the right decision and that we are doing things in good faith. And over the last few months, when we have been insulted, called names, said things as far as your governing board, we have been quiet to not bring things up or to say things, and I really don't want to do that. I call it throwing grenades. He said, no, you said. He said, no, you said. Everything that we've had here that has been said against Deb, there have been accusations. There has been no real meat of anybody coming in and saying, this is illegal, this is what she did, this is what she said, it's in an illegal format. It is hearsay.
Except for the one that just happened tonight.
Exactly, if that's your opinion. But the heart.
That's not an opinion.
Yep.
I mean, that's on tape. I mean, she literally called her out in front of, as being one of the bosses, right? Rubber face.
Well,
And you guys are
Well,
sitting
let's try
there.
to,
like I said,
I know if it was me, I would come to work tomorrow. I mean, it's actually a hostile environment. I
well,
mean,
and Deb has felt that it is that.
so, I mean,
Yep.
isn't it your place now though? I mean, she's one of you guys.
well, that's something that should be taken up at executive if that's the
It's already here
issue.
though.
Yeah.
Well, I realize that, but now that it's been brought out or whatever, it's something that should be taken, it's not something that all the citizenry should be.
With that being said though, when the majority of the selectmen are here tonight, should they be going probably over in the next room and solving the
No,
problem?
yes.
No,
This
do
is
that.
not a public meeting. This is not anything that we discussed or voted on. This is a public hearing.
And don't forget, no matter how people feel, I know stuff was said tonight, or whatever, and I agree with you, okay? However, everybody, you know, Debbie, Stephanie, Carol, me, you, we're all entitled to our due process. So anything, the process for that particular thing is for those guys to go and deal with their stuff, okay? And then they can talk about their stuff and bring forth their stuff inside that room, and that's what that executive authority is for, is to deal with that stuff. And
But that didn't happen that way though. That happened over here.
I know, I'm not trying to put you down, but the thing is
I'm not
that
gonna lay that.
that's their lane, okay? I'm just saying that's the select board's, that's not my lane, that's the select board's lane, I'm just
I just
saying.
wanna let you know, I mean.
Part of it is, Lee, that it's happened. We can't do anything about it. This is not a legislative board.
I know.
Everybody has their right to speak their piece. Unfortunately, it was in something that was considered
Not
personnel
when you're a
issues.
supervisor, you don't.
What?
I mean, not when you're a supervisor. I mean, you guys are all supervisors, you're all her boss. You
Right.
can't do that.
But town rules
I
are
know, I
very
mean,
different.
I've been in trouble myself, you know, and I've been, my hand's been slapped and, you know, and
What?
A very brief statement. This has been a problem once before with another person in the town, and the select board did a really good job taking care of it. And I told that they will take care of any problems that arise. I got faith in them. They've handled everything before.
no, don't.
So that's why I'm not saying anything.
I think we
I'm
should
just
let
letting
them
them
do their job.
take care of it.
Oh, yes. No?
I appreciate
I'll
your
be
comments. I appreciate your comments, but understand that this is not a board where, this is not a format where decisions can be made and
No.
further discussion can ensue. So,
Because they also gonna have the lawyer involved too.
Everybody ought to take their own actions though, you know, I mean, we've all been in trouble, why do I have, you know, had my hand slapped?
I can't
To say
imagine.
the wrong thing.
I can't imagine. I think we certainly have two issues on the table for vote. I do want to say that the actions to separate the two votes were certainly not any trickery by the two boards. It came to light the afternoon of the last hearing, late in the afternoon. It wasn't a done deal. It was supposition by conversations with our attorney and attorneys at Maine Municipal Association. And in light of that, and then the next morning, Eric had further conversation, and it was suggested that we postpone that second hearing because of it being an ordinance or a zoning issue. And we hadn't had 45 days. So the decision was, do we separate it? We were asked to put the petition on the same day as the vote. We were also recommended by attorneys that that was not the thing to do because everybody that signed that petition expected it to be on that date that was issued on June 10th, 2014. So we are a group of people doing what were recommended by our attorneys at Maine Municipal and our own town attorney. Other people think that's not right, that's not what we're doing correctly. I can't speak to that. Those are the people that are our reference points and we have to go back to. So, enough said about that. Anybody else have anything to say? Peter?
Yeah, I just want to remind people of the distinction between personal attacks and professional attacks. When I say to somebody, I don't think you're doing your job well, I think you did a bad job, you know, I don't trust you in your job, that's not a personal attack. And just keep that in mind, you know, is it personal, does it cut to that person's life and who they are outside in the, you know, their office or whatever. The other is, I didn't really want to hear any of this that went on. I didn't want to hear what Bill read. I thought it was disgusting. I wish I hadn't heard it. And I think Eric had the right instincts when he was like, not tonight, Bill, not tonight. And I'm sorry that Debbie and Bill were just like, you know, want to do it, want to do it, want to do it. You know, that's how I feel.
Thank you. Anybody else have anything to say?
Just remember, rumors are rumors and facts are facts.
What's that?
Just remember, rumors are rumors and facts are facts. If you don't have the facts, then don't start the rumors.
Of interest, how many people here are getting the town newsletter every Friday that have an email address? And I would also ask if anybody else is interested to please leave your email address in the office. We tried to institute this at a couple of different times and we'll be asking again when votes happen, mainly because it is a repeated communication effort to try to get news and information to all of you, not just what happens here in the office, but public events that happen and also links to the planning board, because many people have not been to any of the planning board meetings. Many people haven't heard, you know, what the changes are, and this kind of the reliability that we all have email, and we know we don't because of internet connection or not having a computer or not having the wherewithal to get on it and read through it. So please sign up for the newsletter. Your address doesn't go anywhere, but just to for us to have at the office, and it will get you some information. Also, if you'd like to publish something in it that's coming up at your community or organization. I think that's it for announcements. Anything else?
Anybody have anything else regarding, any open questions that they don't know about the land use ordinance, they want to know some particular thing, or they've read the thing cover to cover and they've got it memorized word for word, they want me to know if I know what the 15th word on page 8-5 is.
Yeah.
There is a copy in the office. It is the completed document that the girls keep. They keep it in the vault because it is a public, but it's there for anybody to come and look at, go through, ask questions about. So please know that there is a document there that's for publication, for reading. Wayne, I'm sorry.
Do you have it, like the map, kind of like mapped out like it used to be?
Yeah, those zoning maps, we're using the exact same zoning maps as in there's no changes to the zoning maps.
Okay.
So wherever those maps are, either they're online, or I think there's copies of them over across the hall. There's no changes to those maps. Anything else? Once, twice, anything else? Done.
No, you get hit the hammer, come on, do it right. Thank you.
How are you, Mr.
Did you sign that?